Most countries in the world today are drowning in debt. The United States currently owes more than $38 trillion, the highest level in its history. The European Union carries nearly $14 trillion. Japan is approaching $9 trillion. And the most surprising part is this: even oil-rich countries like Saudi Arabia, and export giants like Germany and China, owe massive amounts of money. When you look at all this, a simple but shocking question comes to mind. If every country is in debt, then who exactly do we owe all this money to? This seemingly simple question takes us straight to the heart of financial history, to the intersection of money, power, and the past. Because debt isn't just a burden, it's the hidden architecture of the modern world. Every war, every crisis, every rise and collapse stands on this invisible scaffolding of debt. And when you trace this debt chain far enough back, you reach a surprising truth. Countries are not really in debt to someone else. They are mostly in debt to themselves. But that doesn't mean everyone benefits equally. Today, global debt has reached a staggering $315 trillion, nearly 3 times the size of the world economy. How did we end up here? To understand this, we need to look at where the idea of national debt was born. Long before credit cards or bank transfers, the idea of national debt didn't emerge on Wall Street, it emerged on the battlefield. In 1694, during its war with France, England's gold reserves were running out. The king turned to merchants for help. In exchange for lending money to the crown, they demanded continuous interest payments backed by future tax revenue. To manage this new system, the Bank of England was founded, a revolutionary moment in economic history. For the first time, a government could spend money it didn't yet have. In return, the lenders received something extremely valuable, a promise from the government. This promise, the government bond, could be bought, sold, traded. That was the seed of the modern financial system. France copied the idea. The Dutch improved it. And the newly independent United States used the same system to finance both its revolution and its expansion westward. Over time, national debt stopped being seen as a sign of failure, and instead became a sign of credibility. Empires once conquered land to get gold. Now they issued bonds to earn interest. The battlefield moved from swords to spreadsheets. 3 centuries later, debt has become the world's biggest export. The US owes $38 trillion. Japan owes over $9 trillion. And global borrowing increases by $1 trillion every 100 days. Every country owes someone. Every bank lends. And every citizen, through taxes, savings, and retirement funds, is both a borrower and a lender. So who holds the other end of the rope? Let's take the US as an example. Of its $38 trillion debt, almost half is held not by government institutions, but by investors. About 2/3 of those investors are Americans themselves, banks, pension funds, insurance companies, mutual funds, and the Federal Reserve. The remaining 1/3, around $9 trillion, belongs to foreign investors. The major foreign lenders are Japan, about $1 trillion. China, about $800 billion. Then the UK, Luxembourg, and Belgium. So when people say, America owes China, they're actually talking about only 2% of total US debt. The truth is, most of America's debt is owed to Americans. Treasury issues bonds. Banks and funds buy them. The central bank buys some back and creates new dollars in return. Americans pay taxes, the taxes go to interest payments, and the interest flows back into American pension funds. A giant loop, turning completely inside itself. And this loop doesn't exist only in the United States. The global system works the same way. Japan lends to the US. The US lends to Europe. Europe lends to developing countries. And developing countries use their reserves to buy US and European bonds again. The world is basically playing a giant game of passing the token. Each country holds another country's IOUs. Each promise is backed by another promise. Everyone plays the game using borrowed chips, and there's only one rule. No one leaves the table. But the real power holding this structure together is something much bigger: financial markets. From hedge funds to pension funds, from asset managers to central banks, it's a massive network. These are the real referees who decide how cheaply or how expensively a country can borrow. If these institutions lose confidence in a country, its currency collapses, governments fall, and economies can be reshaped overnight. Democracy decides who runs a country. But markets decide whether that country survives. And the priests of the modern system are the central banks. They don't just manage debt, they create it. When a central bank buys a bond, it creates new money in return. One person's debt becomes another person's asset. Every currency circulating in the world corresponds to some form of debt somewhere. In short, there is no such thing as debt-free money. This system survives on one thing only: trust. And when trust disappears, collapse begins. We've seen this many times before. Greece, 2010, debt became unsustainable, interest rates skyrocketed, the ECB and IMF stepped in, and austerity hit hard. Argentina, repeated defaults turned debt into a national curse. Sri Lanka, foreign reserves vanished, debts couldn't be paid, fuel shortages hit, and political collapse followed. Whenever the system breaks, the creditors suddenly appear: the IMF, credit rating agencies, and faceless bond investors. The truth is, government debt is not designed to be fully paid back. No major country intends to pay off its national debt. The plan is to refinance, to borrow new money to pay off old money. The real product of government debt is interest. The US will not repay all its debt. Japan will not repay all its debt. No major economy will. Because if governments paid off all their debt, the system would collapse. Bonds would disappear, banks would lose their safest asset, the money supply would shrink, and the economy would freeze. That's why debt is not a mistake, it's a balance. Politicians love to say, "We'll balance the budget and pay off the debt," but the system simply doesn't work that way. The goal isn't to eliminate debt. The goal is to keep it sustainable. The system runs on trust. Once trust is gone, numbers mean nothing. And finally, the most important point. The question, who do we owe, is not really about countries. It's about classes. The idea that we owe the debt to ourselves is only half true. Because interest payments come out of the pockets of millions of taxpayers and flow into the accounts of wealthy individuals and large investors. That's why global inequality and global debt rise together. The system rewards those who own the debt, and punishes those who pay it. In the end, the modern financial system has turned debt into a money-making machine. Governments issue debt, banks multiply it, investors trade it, and ordinary people live dependent on it. Once upon a time, debt meant obligation. Today, it means balance. But if that balance ever breaks, one truth will become very clear. Debt is a promise that cannot be kept forever. If you enjoyed this video, Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.